Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Journey Podcast. Today we have a client of ours inside of PTBI. His name is Craig McClure out in Jersey, and he just finished up October with his highest month yet, which is really freaking amazing. He pulled in $18,300, and like that alone is just incredible. But when I told him to celebrate, I said, "Look, man, I'm gonna fly out there. I'm gonna buy you a drink. We're gonna celebrate." And he goes, "Well, we'll have to wait because I'm not even 21 yet." So he pulled in 18,000 while he was only 20 years old, and he's also in college. Actually, no, I take that back. He dropped out of college, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Recently dropped out of college, but he started this business last year while he was in college, has grown it to a really remarkable level. And so today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk to Craig about how he was able to grow his business to such a monumental level, pulling in 18,000 in a single month, and share all the tips and strategies and workflows that he's learned to get him to that level. So, Craig, without further ado, welcome to the podcast, man. Would love for you to give a little introduction as to like what your life looks like today, what your current situation is like.
Yeah, man, dude. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Honestly, it's my first podcast I've ever been on, so I'm super stoked about it. And I think really my day to day right now is just loving what I do. I pretty much work every single day of the week, not because I need to, but just because I genuinely like what I'm doing. Like I love all the nitty gritty little things. And I think because of that, that's why I'm where I am today, honestly.
Absolutely. I love that, man. So let's walk through a day in your life. Like right now you're 20, I'm still assuming you're at your parents' house, correct?
Yeah.
So what does your day-to-day life look like when you wake up in the morning? What typically does your workflow look like? Because you're full-time with your business right now, and we'll talk about, how your business has evolved over time since you first started. But like, if you were to wake up today, and if you were to wake up tomorrow, what would your daily flow look like?
Yeah, so I actually do the exact same thing every single day. I've been doing it for this entire year. So what I do is I wake up and I work out. First thing I do, work out, get that done, get that out of the way. While I'm at the gym, I'm never just working out, always getting content. Every single day I'm there. So that's an everyday process. I get home, I edit content, eat my first meal, get my posts up on all my platforms. So TikTok, Instagram, get all of that up. And then from there, I hop right into calls for the entire day, usually till 10 p.m. at night for most nights or most days, honestly.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, I know that you grind your calls out a lot because you're always the one texting me saying like you have no free time in your calendar. But when it comes to your content strategy, what exactly is your content strategy online? Because I know that over the last year, I think when I followed you last year and got you in PTBI, think you were sub 10K followers and now you're over 20K followers. So what exactly is your content strategy for growth and how did you hack social media to be able to get consistent growth online?
Yeah, so this is actually a topic I'm glad you brought it up is I kind of wanted to talk about it. I feel like a lot of online coaches, yes, you don't need a big following in order to be a successful online coach, which you know that.
Yeah.
But it certainly does help, right?
Mhm.
Having a lot of leads, having people to reach out to that know you, that trust you, it certainly does help for business. Now, in the beginning, I think what was nice is I spent a lot of time focusing on content since the beginning. I always put content like first in a lot of situations, which I think benefited me in the long run, just because like it's not just by accident. It's not luck that I got like hit a viral video and had it happen. Like I look at my analytics, I look at my insights on my Instagram daily. Every single day I'm on there. I'm seeing what duration video works best, what type of posts work best, what type of posts give me the most clients, and I rinse and repeat. And that's why I've been able to do it. Not because I had one post that blew up on TikTok or one post that blew up on Instagram. And I consistently show up basically. And I think one of the biggest keys right now is giving out more information instead of just like telling people that you know this information without even giving proof. And I think that showing them that you're knowledgeable in the topic, whether it's scientific, whether it's funny, whatever it may be, just giving people more information about it.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. Now, it sounds like you studied your own content and figured out like which pieces do well. When it comes to your own personal content, what you've seen, what did you find makes the biggest difference when it comes to growth? Like, what was the thing where you figured out like the light bulb went off? You're like, oh, this is working for growth. Let's double down on it. What was that thing that you found online?
It's reels. It's short form content, videos. if any of you want to go check out my page, primarily all I do is videos. I don't really do a lot of still photos anymore. I still do occasionally throw them in there because you can obviously put a long caption and do that kind of method. But right now, the most organic reach you can get is through short form content, either reels or on TikTok, obviously getting on the For You page. And that's what I found to work best. So I am right now, I post at least one reel a day, sometimes two a day. And because like it's really important for your business. You can't like, yes, you can post once every now and again, and you can still have a good business. But you just want to keep showing up. Every time someone opens their app, they're going to see a post by me every single day, no matter what. So I think that's really what is helped me on Instagram primarily is posting more reels because they're pushing it really heavily right now in order to compete with TikTok.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. Now, when it comes to, your content like creation, there's obviously a lot of creativity that's involved with content. Where do you get inspiration for content to come out with consistent posts every single day, back to back to back? Where does that come from?
That's during honestly, it's from deep like either on my runs or at my workouts. So like I know a lot of people like to listen to music on their runs or on their workouts. Like I don't always do it because I can go on a run and I can literally just create content in my head. I can just get really creative with it. My body's going. I can kind of get into this flow state and I come up with my content for the next day. Or I can like honestly, you can pull it from your clients as well, which still works. You can do that. But just trying to tailor it into a reel is really where I get it most from my workouts, honestly.
I love it. Beautiful. Now you are what I call a redliner. You always push yourself to the limit. So even with content creation, you're always pushing yourself to the limits, trying to put out as much content as possible. Do you, and it's obviously it's showed in the growth of your profiles online, but do you think that pushing for that growth alone translated to the success of your business, or what else were you doing on the back end besides content that allowed you to pull in 18,000 in October?
Yeah, so definitely it helps. Like I said, it's definitely going to help. Like running, like wearing a pair of running shoes is definitely going to help you. Um, but at the same time, like without my systems on the back end, I wouldn't have been able to like basically monetize that following. Like a lot of people have really big followings and they're relying heavily off of sponsorships and things like that. I don't even have any, like I have affiliate links for like maybe one thing, and that's it. So I really think that one, knowing how to show up for them enough, build that authority, keep showing up, and then also DM outreach. DM outreach is literally our main form of basically getting leads right now. We have a lot of people think that, oh, I have a big following, so the reason I'm successful with my business is because I get a ton of inbounds. I don't. Like I really don't. I have 20 plus thousand, like 26,000 followers, but like I don't think people realize how little people actually will fill out something in your bio.
Yeah.
Like people don't want to wait that time. They'd rather like you could DM outreach them and do them the exact same script and they might answer because it's actually you, which would take maybe even longer than filling out the application. But sometimes you need to be the person to initiate it. And that's really what it's about. So I don't really get a ton of inbounds more than someone that has like 1,000 followers. Yes, but DM outreach is 100%. That's where all of our leads are coming from.
Beautiful. So you're saying that your content allows you to grow your page and get new eyes and new audience members, but it's still not enough to actually monetize your business or convert. What you have to do is actually get into the trenches and reach out to all of your potential clients and start that conversation and not just wait for them to fill out an application and potentially work with you. So let me ask you this. What is your outreach process? Like, how do you go about reaching out to your client or audience members? Like, what's the strategy behind that?
So I think the main thing is just really one, a lot of our outreach right now is to my audience. It's not to a ton of cold outreach. We did do that for a little while now, but as we do warm outreach, we still like to treat it as if they are cold, essentially, being that we want to give them value along every single step of the process. Now, that goes from all of the DM outreach, even if it's just like giving them little things back to help them out with whatever that question was, but not too much, and then leading them through that process. So that way, even if for some reason they can't join or they're not looking to get on a call, they at least got some value from that conversation because they did take the time out of their day to even talk to me.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this. Where does DM, because I know recently you just hired a VA and so you outsource a lot of the DM outreach, but for a lot of the people who are just getting started listening to this podcast, they're doing their own outreach, which you've done for a very long time. And so what was your strategy and routine around DM outreach? How did you approach it? Because some people are like, man, I don't want to do it. And then they'll procrastinate it off for 3 days before they get into it. So how did you get yourself into doing it? What motivated you to do it? And like, what was your strategy and routine around it?
Yeah. So I think one is like I have a VA, but like I do my own DM outreach every single day. I still haven't stopped. And one, because it's not going to hurt to double down. And the reason I have the amount of call volume I do is because I still do it. So if I have go through an entire day and my VA doesn't book a call, I'm staying up all night until I get calls booked. Like I have like 2 to 3 calls booked every single day, no matter what. That means I'm staying up, I'm doing the DM outreach, I'm missing different things. Like I literally, my full attention is on DM outreach until I get those calls booked. And then like, honestly, like if there's conversations going, I'm not going to bed with those conversations up in the air. So that's really what I think has been the key is I never, like a lot of people set like a target of like, oh, I'm going to reach out to 100 people today. It wasn't like that for me. It was like, I'm going to reach out to however many people I need to in order to get my calendar full.
And where does that come from? Like, why is that so important to have your calendar full?
Because that's my highest paying task of my business. That's
Yeah.
what's going to drive my business forward. It's going to move my needle essentially.
I love it. So what comes after DM outreach? Because a lot of people listening here, if you're in PTBI, you know what this process looks like. You've been taught this process and you know exactly how to execute. But for someone who's just listening, just getting started, they're like, okay, cool. So DM outreach, and then do you pitch prices in the DMs? Like what happens after the DM? Like what comes next?
Yeah. So from the DMs, we'll schedule a call with them. And it's usually just like a quick 5 to 10 minute call. And even though they might follow me, they still don't really know me as a person. And I'm sure you guys have known, like if you see someone that has a big following, they're like, oh, 20,000 plus or even 10,000 plus. Most of the time they're like, oh, this is a spam account. This is fake. This is a scam, whatever it may be. So having that 5 to 10 minute call, which is where you can really just like show your like real self essentially and be authentic and just introduce yourself, kind of get a better understanding of where they're at and really see if you can actually help them. That the 10-minute call is really just to see if you can help them. You're not trying to offer them anything. You're trying to see if you can genuinely help that person out. Because obviously you can't help everyone. As a coach, you need to learn that there are things that are out of your comfort zone. And you want to make sure that even if you are going to jump out of that comfort zone, you at least let the person know that it's something you're not familiar with. And I think that a lot of people are actually really open to that. And like, if you are open with them, then they'll be like, okay, or they'll be like, no, I'm not interested. So I think it's really just about having that 10-minute call to get to know the person better and see what they actually really want.
Beautiful. I love it, man. So what would you say were the biggest contributing factors to your biggest month this month? Because I remember last year in September, you were going through school, you're kind of chilling in your business. And then recently over the summer, you hit your first 10K month. And then in October, you hit nearly a 20K month. So where did that jump come from? What do you think shifted in what you did, or what were the biggest contributing factors to that?
There's really one factor, and it's where I was spending my time. So I think a lot of people, like, balance is very important for overall life and being able to do this forever. But like, I do my business. That is what my day is every single day. If I'm like, I literally don't think about anything else. And I think that really once like I figured out where my time was going and how I can optimize getting into flow work, I got into flow and I've been in flow since the beginning of summer. And that's really what got me there is like, I didn't have anything else I do. Even my hobby or my fun time is going to the gym or going to the run. Other than that, I'm on my business and working my business. And I think that's really what the key was, is like what you call is hopping in the vortex. I just went in the vortex and I didn't come out. I didn't do like a quick like 90 days. I'm still in there right now till the end of the year.
Yeah, you haven't left. But I think what's important to note here is like you get an insane amount of fulfillment and enjoyment of doing your work. The reason why you haven't hopped out of it is because you like thoroughly enjoy working and it makes you happy. Now I know that there's a big concern about people who go from 9 to 5 or the college lifestyle and step into entrepreneurship. And a big concern for them is volatility within income, having a 5K month and a 2K month and a 10K month and a 3K month. And I always tell people it doesn't really work like that. So long as you're consistent and you stick with it, you're only going to grow and grow and grow steadily over time. Now you might see like $1,000 or $2,000 fluctuation every now and then, but like, what's your experience been now that you've been in business for a year? Have you kind of like relaxed into that volatility a little bit? Can you speak on your experience with that?
Yeah, so I think that in the beginning, I was definitely a little skeptical with that. Like, especially if anyone out there who's like just starting, right? You're just starting your fitness coaching business. In the beginning, most likely you're going to have like a hot streak where you're going to be signing on a lot of clients that you maybe knew, people in your hometown. Now that they see that you're a coach and they're like, oh, like we're going to join up, and you can get a lot of clients that way. But that does slow down eventually once you've already helped those people. And then you might have a little dip there. But like you said, as long as you show up, there really is no reason for it to dip completely down. Like I, since I hit my first 10K month, I had a dip. The only reason I had a dip was because I was scaling out my team. I was hiring on assistant coach, VA. But other than that, there really isn't a ton of volatility. And it's like it's just as guaranteed as a 9 to 5. Like your 9 to 5, as everyone has noticed since COVID, is that's not even guaranteed. That's not even a steady, sturdy job. So I would say like it's comparable to both.
I love it, man. Yeah, I'm the same. And I always say the same thing is like as long as you just continue showing up and continue doing what you're doing, you have a skill that provides income for the rest of your life. Like if I said, Craig, go out and make $1,000 today, you would very well know exactly what you need to do that. Whereas most people are like $1,000, how do I come across $1,000? So like, what's more secure? Being able to know how to make $1,000 at the drop of a hat, or like having to depend on a 9 to 5 that's not even really guaranteed at the end of the day. But
Definitely.
yeah, I wanted to ask you this, what would you say to a coach who's just starting out that wants to make, 10, 15, $18,000 per month, but doesn't exactly know where to start? What would you say are the first steps to take in order to get them from where they are now to potentially where you are today?
Invest in a coach. Same thing works for if you want to get in on your fitness goals, invest in a coach. If you want to get better at your business, invest in a coach or mentor, whatever you want to call it. That's the fastest way. You don't like, obviously, yes, I could spend years of looking online. Like all this information is free. It's not like you don't have to pay for it necessarily. Google's completely free. But your time isn't. So spending years and years trying to figure it out, which I spent a year trying to figure it out myself. I was cherry picking ideas from Zach's profile page, using his free content, using other online mentors' free content, and just cherry picking stuff. And that has helped me a little bit in the beginning, but it definitely wasted a lot of time. So I think that you can get all that information packed into one individual, or like one system, or one coach essentially. And I think that's really was the main key, is just investing in a coach essentially.
Love that, man. I love that. So what is next for you? Like what are the goals for 2022? Like you're 20 years old, your business is doing multiple six figures. Like if you were to keep this up, your business is going to do multiple six figures, which is sick. But like what's next for you? What's on the horizon? What do you look forward to?
Really, I think what I'm looking forward to most is one, just like immediately is going to be hiring on a closer for our team, someone that can bring on new team members. But in the future, into next year, I'm really excited for next year. Honestly, I can't wait to see what it's going to bring, and I think it's just about helping more people on a bigger scale at the end of the day, and then that's going to obviously, in return, make my business grow.
Dude, so I wanted to ask you too. This is a little late for me asking, but what exactly inspired you to drop out? Because I remember you and I were working together, and you're like, you know what, fuck this. I'm not like you had like a scholarship, you had a full ride, and all you had to do was show up. But you're like, fuck it, it's not worth my time. So like, where did exactly did that come from?
It was more of like the pros and cons, honestly. It was if I were to continue in college and spend my time there, I would be potentially losing like tens of thousands of dollars, like as the day goes by, that I was wasting time there. So I knew that I couldn't be in class, and even though it was completely online for me, I couldn't be in class and run my business full time and help my clients to my best of my ability. I agree that I think that you need to go 100% all in. And the reason I didn't necessarily take off like sooner when joining PTBI is because I didn't stop doing the school and start doing the business full time. I was like 50-50 the whole time.
Mhm.
While I was in school, I had a client like roster cap where I was like chilling at like 15 clients and I just cap it for my semester. And that's what I just chilled with because I didn't want to take on too many more people and obviously not get everyone the best results possible. So honestly, I think that what inspired me to do it was the only reason I was going to school anyway is because I wanted to learn more about health and fitness. I was going to school for an exercise science degree and I only wanted to go for the knowledge. And that's one of the rare cases of people. I feel like no one ever goes to school anymore just for the knowledge. But that's really why I was going. I wanted to go just because I wanted to learn more about exercise, the science side of things, like the human body, things like that. But it really just wasn't going to be worth it because all of that information is free. You can actually learn how to directly apply it through other coaches or getting your own, like I can get my own fitness coach and I'm a fitness coach to
Mhm.
learn like directly how to apply it to my clients. And honestly, just getting into coaching gives you the best experience possible.
I love that. So what did your parents say when you're like, hey, I have this business that's producing full-time income, more money than I'd be making than if I went to college. Like, what do you say about me dropping out? Like, what was the reaction?
So honestly, they're really supportive. They kind of let me do my own thing. Like I really just I kind of do my own thing with my business. I know I'm living at home at the moment, but I'm pretty much just living by myself. I'm doing my own thing, kind of keep my just in my own path essentially. But with the schooling and when I was like deciding to essentially drop out, it came down to just like figuring out the process of getting me out. Essentially, it was never like an objection or anything like that. It was simply like, okay, this is what you want to do. Let's do it. Because the summer before was I was quitting from my job or like not coming back essentially. So I was landscaping and I also was working as a busser, food runner at a restaurant, doing both of those. And I didn't want to go back to either of those. So that was like the first one. And then now it was the school. So it was just a matter of time.
I love it, man. Awesome. Well, Craig, I really appreciate you taking the time to share your advice and share your strategies on how you hit your first nearly 20K month. Any final words or thoughts that you want to share with anybody who's listening?
Yeah, stop making excuses.
I love that. I love that. Coming from Team No Excuses himself. Craig, do you want to share your social media platforms?
Yeah, so you guys can find me at craig.mcclure on both TikTok and Instagram.
Beautiful. Awesome. For anyone who's listening, thank you so much. Catch you in the next one. Peace.